Welcome to Around the Metaverse, baby, our weekly show where we bring together the best content creators from the Web3 community to talk about the recent news and give you guys everything you need to know to stay up to date, baby. All right, my name,
baby,
Doug Hype, and I'll be your host today, baby. But more importantly, we have this amazing group of guests. Kapow! I mean, look it over here. We all know CryptoStache. All right, the OG, the founder of this show, right, is over there. And we're going to skip over him right now, and we're going to go over to Hantao. Guest number one of the top Web3 gamers that's ever existed, right? If you think you're good at gaming, go right now on his Twitter, challenge him to a game, do what you want. He's the co-founder of MoQ, HQ, and a bunch of things. You're just doing so many things, Hantao. How are you doing, man, on this beautiful day, this beautiful, day here in Hype Lane? It's like 70 degrees and sunny. What's it like over there, bro?
It's morbid and raining and dark. But
yeah, you're probably up there in like Canada or something.
I don't go outside. I live in the metaverse. So
are we both in the Rocky Mountain Fortress? I kind of figured. Yeah, but you are in the metaverse. And speaking of metaverses, there's a thing, that's happening right now, and we happen to have co-founder of this game. It's a little game that no one's really heard of. It's called Nifty Island, but I really want to get the word out, Charles. Okay, I'm trying.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's one person I've seen around the metaverse and around the gaming world in the last week or so, just with your hair on fire everywhere I look, it's you. So I was just like, I gotta get you on the show, bro. You're out there working the streets. It's like in Vegas when they hand out the flyers, but you're the founder of the company. Like, that's what Web3 is all about. You know what I'm saying? You're there letting people ask you questions, interacting with people, elevating creators, doing fun things with creators and projects and stuff. And I'm all about that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, where has that been? You know what I'm saying? So Charles, how are you doing, man? How are you doing this day? Like, thanks for taking the time out to come hang out with us. I know you have like an island retreat planned, but you're here with us now.
It's great to be here. Yeah, no, doing well. I mean, I'm having fun with it. It's been a really hectic week. I don't think I've ever been this busy before. Like, I'm so busy at this point that I'll stay at my computer until I physically have to use the restroom, and then I'll go, and then I'll run back. That's where we're at right now. And then I'll forget.
This is the current Web3 lifestyle.
Well, I was like, man, welcome to Web3, brother. Because that is basically exactly how it goes.
We have another dude who is in like a similar situation where a founder of a company, and I see him everywhere supporting people, whether it's in real life, jumping behind the bar at a Web3 event in Miami at Art Basel to help out, or helping out another project, or doing some collab, you name it. Ape Mother. And I just commented that you were earlier today just climbing a mountain for the sunrise, and then you came back down just to be on the show today. And then you adjust all your lights to give us that sunrise feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love it. You're just surrounded by an aura. You founded the NFT project Ape Reunion, which is not only an NFT project, but you also built a game out of it. Oh my God, you actually delivering a game? Crazy. Mind blown. How are you doing, Ape Mother?
Hey, I'm doing well. Excited to be here. I've been following Stash for a long time and just kind of creeping up on everything that he's been doing. I've also been spending a lot of time in Nifty Island in the last week. So
I think everybody here might have seen them there. I don't know if I've seen Stash there yet, but we'll get to all this stuff, all right? There's a lot of fun things we're going to talk about today, and a lot of it has to do with Web3 gaming. CryptoStache. You've been in this space for at least 55 years. I mean, before the internet even existed, you were like researching Web3 gaming and reporting on it.
I mean, maybe I am the OG, but it's like you're adding quite a few years there. You're tacking a few years on, my friend.
I'm not saying you're an elder. I'm just saying you did it before it was cool. So, like, you know how vintage things are cool again? Like, you got a double whammy. First of all, you're vintage. Second of all, you're cool already. And then you just add that on top. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anybody out there, people ask me all day long, Doug, how do you be successful in Web3? How do you do it? And I'm like, you know what? You shouldn't ask me. You should go ask CryptoStache and fill his DMs and just go bother him. So, Stash, how are you doing, man? Like, how are you feeling in this like time that we live in now? You know, is this the apex of the Roman Empire that we're living in? What's happening?
I mean, this is the apex of the Web3 metaverse empire. No, I wouldn't say no, not apex, man. We're still on the road. That's still coming. Yeah, I think we're still going up, man. And honestly, I love the topics today because we're going to bring it all together, I think, with what's been with all the things we were seeing in the industry in general, right? When you talk about game development, We're talking about people getting laid off. We're talking about a post-COVID entertainment era. We're talking about the rise of AI and kind of some new tools and things. And I think a lot of these things, man, and then UGC throwing that in there too, and like all these things together, I think are really going to be explosive over the next 5 to 10 years in a crazy way that maybe not a lot of people see coming. And hopefully we can kind of help connect some of those dots today, right, in some of these topics and why you should be paying attention.
Yep, that's the old news there from CryptoStache. This is the thing, guys. Like when me and Stash worked on like this stuff, I put together these questions and then me and Stash talk about it, and we're like, this is the greatest show that's ever been on YouTube. Is this episode right now of any show that's ever existed? So that's what we decided about that. Very excited about it. So let's get around this panel again. You know what I'm saying? So like the first topic we're going to talk about today is UGC. And I like to say it wrong and say UGC all the time, but user-generated content, right? And there's so many things to pull off of this. Like it's just crazy right now. So this panel, we have not only some gaming founders and people that do different versions of like gamings, but also we got Hantao, who is a man that's in everything and everywhere. You're a founder, you're this. I mean, I don't want to sit here and take up the whole show, but that's what it would take to just talk about all things. And a star of the Hype video series, possibly the best cameo in the history of the video series too. So what do you think about user-generated content? Like what are the things that are like that really drives user-generated content? It's blowing up right now. And why do you think that's happening? Is it because people are benefiting from tokens and airdrops? Do they just like creative expression? Is it the networking aspect of it? Like how do you kind of think about that?
Yeah, so when I think about UGC, I typically like to break it out into two buckets. So one bucket, we have creators, artists, and people that are making like video content, streaming, etc. And then the other bucket, which I think games have started adopting through user-generated content. And with respect to games, I think it really allows a area for creativity, because when you think about a lot of the popular games, they used to be custom mods in games and they were created through UGC. I think like Dota, for example, StarCraft had a custom Dota map as well. H1Z1 came from Arma custom mod, and then it blew up into PUBG and then Fortnite, and now Fortnite has their own game engine that they're letting people use, and there's like 14-year-olds making more money than all of us. So I think UGC is just like a never-ending potential to create different experiences and a really low-lift way to use existing tools to test out things.
Okay, if you had to rank them, networking, creative expression, and beneficials, I know they're all close, but if you had to rank those three, how would you rank those as far as motivation for developing like user-generated content?
I think a lot of it, especially Fortnite, has to do with monetary. But definitely back like 10 years ago is way more creative. Yeah. So I think those two fight for first place, and the third one, which I don't remember. I short-term memory.
Is it like the networking exposure? So like if I have, like if I'm in Reunion and I go into Nifty Island and I like make an island, you know what I mean? Like then people can also see my project, right?
Yeah, it's definitely exposure. I mean, that's why like Shrapnel's made a UFN map. Oni Force made a UFN map. So all these people are making new experiences in Fortnite to get exposure.
Yeah, that was a really good answer. It's a really good answer. All right. Let's go to Mr. Nifty Shifty himself, Charles. When I say shifty, I don't mean in a bad way. I mean like you're everywhere, in every Twitter space, every video. I was like, "Do you want to come on the show?" And you're like, "Hell yeah!" And I was like, "Whoa, me and Charles will be friends because that's what I love. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's go." You know what I'm saying? Be all the places, support people. Do you think any game and any person can benefit from UGC? Like you have been seeing this, and as you're developing Nifty Island and whatever's happening around you, like what are the things that you see people are benefiting from, and maybe things that even surprised you about like this user-generated content? Because like it's kind of like evolving, and almost as we are watching it happen, it's like a creative endeavor that's alive. It feels like it's so cool.
That's the whole point.
Definitely. So I think maybe to answer that, part of what we're so excited about with UGC is that it has a long way to go. I think it's easy to look at Roblox and Fortnite and think, well, that's the last word and how these platforms are going to function. These are the basic primitives. You make an experience. You have a dev shop making an experience. They market it. People come to this, Fortnite map or a Roblox experience, and then they participate. And it's there's an easy temptation to think that's the final form of it. And what we think is that it has a hell of a lot further to go, and that really the benefits of UGC haven't been fully realized, and even at all. And so what we look at it is we say, right now, UGC gaming platforms are a little bit like YouTube, where very few people make content. The vast majority of people just consume it. And that will always be the case with a platform, but there's a spectrum, with some platforms being much more participative than others. And so when you look at YouTube, that looked like the final form of UGC for video, but then TikTok came along and said, nope, it's actually not at all. And really a shorter form content with different modes of delivering it unlocks new creators. It gets new people involved. We think the same thing's going to happen for gaming, and that's what we're really trying to do, is introduce a type of UGC that's more short form, where anyone can create, anyone can have an island, anyone can deploy playground games on it, and they can share a link easily. So a different form of distribution than what you see with some other UGC platforms. They can share it in a Discord chat, they can share it on iMessage, they can share it on Twitter, and they can pull people into play. So that's we think it's going to really change gaming fundamentally, and it has really a long way to go to be fully realized.
I was in your Discord yesterday, and I became addicted because I kept talking to these people that were creating stuff for it, and they would say stuff like, hey, I haven't really done this for a while, or I haven't really gotten into this, or I haven't worked this hard on it in like years. I was hanging out with GJ Jagman, who's making like music and dropping stuff in there, and I bought a bunch of his songs, and he was super cool. And I went to his island and saw what he's doing, and I was like, what are you up to? And he's like, oh, I have all this stuff. And immediately I'm over there now buying his stuff, and I was like, whoa. I'm like, I was the guy, Charles, saying that metaverses are stupid and they're dead and everyone's screwing it up and nobody can figure it out and we should just forget about it. And then it was like, when I say that, it's like a challenge, like somebody actually make one that I want to be in. And then all of a sudden I'm like, boom, 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 connecting NFTs, buying stuff, making stuff, having fun with them. And Jagman's so happy. He's like, bro, you're just aping into my stuff. And I'm like, this is cool. And he starts sending me other avatars and things. And so getting that experience with what was going on there, I was like, I love this so much. People are just vibing in there, doing the things. It's just electric. And this is what I'm all about, is content creation, or creating in general, gaming, whatever. And then you just see all the amazing, cool things that people are creating. And I could talk about it for hours, and it's awesome. And we have 8 Mother here too. And the reason that you're on the show is not just because you're my friend and my buddy and you're awesome and have a cool project that like has been like in reverence since the beginning. People love it. Your community is great. But you get this perspective of like cross-pollination, because you're a master of it. You're always doing collabs and cross-pollination stuff. And now we're seeing like big time UGC cross-pollination. And do you think that we're seeing all-time new levels of cross-pollination? Do you think like Nifty Island and this UGC type stuff is a whole nother level that we haven't really experienced before? And it's kind of like creating synergy, where it's not just that it's networking, but it's like good vibes and fun, and you're like, oh, let me go check out your project and that. And I feel like the NFT community themselves hasn't really felt that vibe since like the bull market-ish, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to kind of get your perspective on that, because what I see happening when I go into a thing like Nifty Island is I run into old friends, all the Nakamigos hanging out, all this stuff. Charles, me and Dabber were hanging out, and he's like, yeah, they're doing stuff with me, and I'm like, this is great. And run into people that are like, oh, we're all coming together and buying each other's projects and doing stuff right now. And I'm like, oh, this makes sense. So 8 Mother, I want to hear your thoughts on this, because, you were already kind of trying to do this kind of conceptual things in different ways up until now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've barely scratched the surface on UGC content in terms of how it benefits the player. I mean, it's already such an amazing addition. I mean, you look at Nifty Island, it gave me the ability to come in right away, add my own avatars. Not only that, I commissioned an artist in the space to make 3D avatars for me, because we're a pixel-based project. So automatically, I'm like creating networks with other people, empowering them, getting them into the game. The thing that is insane is like the incredible exposure and the diversity and the inclusivity that comes from people being able to include their own art styles. Like you were talking about Jag, and I was in his level, and he's doing such a good job marketing himself, saying like, I got all this stuff in the marketplace, go look for it. And I've looked through the marketplace like every day so far, and to be honest, like what's in there now is like not even close to as great of stuff that's going to come to. You see like the featured stuff that costs like 15,000 or 20,000 bloom, and you're like, ooh, I got to work up to that, you know.
Yes, dude.
That is like kind of like right now setting the bar for where we're trying to go. And you're starting to see all these in terms of Nifty Island. I don't mean to like pigeonhole this conversation in a Nifty Island, but it's a great use case right now where you're seeing all these 3D artists come out of the woodworks that have this talent and finally be able to monetize them on a game that implemented a marketplace in real time that you can then take the asset out of the marketplace and use it in game. And what makes it special is it's a 3D asset. So we were all anticipating that with other side and like the ODK and even doing more sophisticated things with like LiDAR scan my room right now and then bring in that image into the other side. Like this is kind of like that next step. Like Nifty Island was the first game that brought all these projects together where everyone wanted to have a 3D representation in game. And it's phenomenal. The UGC is just, it's like kind of speaks to the heart of what Web3 is about. And I'll just say, like, if we're about decentralization, empowering everybody to make their own art and then bring it into the game, that's like the epitome of decentralized gaming, if you ask me.
Interoperability, man. Interoperability.
Stash, sir, you hear all these people getting super excited about this stuff, and I know you're all about it. What are your thoughts on UGC and like where it's going in the future? It sounds like there's a lot of visionary stuff happening here, and it's new. And did you see this coming? Did your secret agent see that UGC was just going to blow up like crazy in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've been seeing this trend here for quite some time. You know, I like what Nifty Island is doing, but we've seen a lot of games that have been doing this, in particular in Web3. Now, obviously, outside of Web3, we've talked about a couple of the ones that are a little bit bigger, right? You talk about your Roblox, you talk about your, Fortnite more recently. There's some other ones like Core Platform who have been out there doing some stuff. And, modding is where a lot of this has come from, right? You talk about like late 90s, early 2000s. Modding was a pretty big thing, but it was similar to what we're seeing with the concept of Web3, where modding was this thing that was thought about like completely outside of the game loop, right? It wasn't something that was really included in a core game loop saying like, oh, hey, this is part of what we're actually shipping as a product to you. It was a standalone kind of afterthought type of thing in most cases, right? And now I think we're starting to see not just Web3 studios, but a lot of development studios consider this to be a major part of what they're offering in their product. Like what we're seeing with Web3, where it's like, okay, well, before in the 2000 era, early 2000s, you're playing Warcraft. Maybe you're selling gold on a eBay account or something, right? And these types of monetary transactions were always kind of frowned upon. They're against TOS. None of the systems to buy and sell things like this are actually incorporated into the game. And then comes along, kind of Web3 tech, and we start to see that this empowers games to do this in a way that's more transparent and is verifiable, which is some of the more important tenets, right? And so then you talk about that kind of same journey happening with UGC, right? Where we're starting to see more and more games incorporate. This is part of the game now. It's not just a standalone thing. It's for, a core, a dedicated, hardcore kind of group of modders. Anybody can jump in. We're making no code tools to go ahead and do this. So even if you're not, a coder or a 3D artist, you can actually jump in and do these things quite easily. And we've seen lots of tools being developed to do that. The Sandbox has something like that, where when you talk about a no-code solution, right, you can go in there and start making the same, like mini games without having to know any code. You're just dragging and dropping, and these types of tools are what we're seeing also with Fortnite, with UEFN creators as well, right? You don't have to go in there and really know how to code, and so the harder elements of doing these things are being taken out, right? So it's pure creativity. So instead of it being like, oh man, I got to go and do this tutorial, I got to learn 5 different software, I got to go through a certification course, and it's going to take me countless hours to learn this, we're starting to create these tools that allow us to just really show the creativity without all the roadblocks of, man, I need to know a ton of extra things to get on board with this. So I think what we're really seeing is this being one of the cornerstones of the downfall of AAA gaming, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, like okay, you guys look at the thumbnail for this video, and it's like, oh, AAA gaming is doomed. There's a reason why I put that. I mean, is it clickbait? Yeah, maybe. But I mean, there is actually something behind this. So when you start connecting these dots, like I was talking about earlier, UGC is one of the first dots, right? Having systems that allow users to easily create the same type of stuff that you're seeing developers create in a rapid and fast manner, right? And then you start adding in extra things like AI, right? Where it's making generation of 3D assets like this. You type in like, all right, give me a rabbit that's on fire, that is, cartoon and has a plunger gun. And I mean, you got a 3D asset within seconds, right? And then you can, think about being able to drag and drop that into a no-code solution creator or UGC platform. And this is limitless. That now it just comes down to creativity and what you can actually just think of. And you're not restrained by, I need to know the tools, and the tools are super complicated.
Yeah, we saw that the little rabbit guy thing like sold out, right? Everybody wants to have that AI assistant where you just tell it to do stuff and all of a sudden things happen. And I'm like, yes, me too.
Yeah. I mean, right now we're kind of early with that, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys have messed around with AI tools and things. I don't know how deep you guys get into that, but I mean, the shit that is coming for gaming is, we see already in our next topic, we'll kind of talk about this, but people getting laid off, thousands of people across multiple disciplines, not just gaming, but we're talking about in the entertainment industry in general. Why is that? Is it just like, oh, money? Oh, we don't have enough money. No, man.
Well, we're going to talk
AI
about that now, and I have a lot of prickliness that's going to come out of me now because we're talking about all these corporations and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, but like I'm saying, user-generated content is like one of the first things that we're really seeing, pushing that boundary, right? Where you see people, devs incorporating that, and then it becoming a major part of the game. And you could also say like, oh, well, does that make it lazy? Does that make the developers lazy? Like, all right, users, you guys go create all the content for us. And we'll just reap the rewards. We'll give you a little piece. Don't worry.
Well, if anybody out in the audience is like intelligent enough to watch my videos, because it's for very smart people, obviously, you'll see there's an interview with Mark Long from Shrapnel, who talks about like not only is Web3 gaming going to lead the way to break through to Web 2, you know what I mean, but it's going to be games that are powerful and unique and distinctive and innovative, not games that are just there looking to get cold hard cash, not just the financial thing. Like, they need to put the innovation and the new things first. And I think part of that you can see in Shrapnel, because they're also doing things to try to build things and systems in their game for UGC. Like they're building in inscriptions and all this other stuff. They're doing stuff in Fortnite. They're very much in that world and know that it's really, really important. And they talk about it a lot, and rewarding people in their game also. So it's kind of interesting that like, we've got FPS, going out with Nifty Island and stuff too. It's a lot of cool stuff that's like very, very like on the same wavelength. A lot of people I think get it. So
Derek, I was gonna say real quick, like you asked a question, talking about, or you kind of stated like, unique type of games. How many of you guys here on this panel today have played something that you felt was like truly unique and engaging over the last year? Like something that was like totally different. Like, oh my gosh, this is not like anything I've ever played. Most of the games I've played here, even over the last, it's just like, all right, cool. It's another cool story. It's another, iteration of this IP. But anybody here played anything they thought like, man, this really is so much different?
The one thing, I'm very biased. I have found that with Nifty, for me at least. I'm not even saying it's a perfect game. I have thought this is weird and different in a positive way. But I understand that I'm extremely biased, but I feel like I have to say it.
Well, I feel like there's been games that kind of tried to do what you're doing, but they did it in such a very shallow way. It didn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it just didn't. So
sure.
I just was like, nobody's really doing it. But when you put all that extra effort in it, all the different things you're doing with it, all of a sudden, then I think you've kindled a fire with that just a little bit. And yeah, I don't think I've really experienced something directly like that. I've experienced people trying to do something that's kind of similar to what you're doing, but it really wasn't.
Well, I don't even mean like necessarily UGC, but just like a game that stood out from the others being a different experience. Hantao, I know you play a lot of games, man. Anything you're like, man, this game was hype.
Man, you already know I'm going to show Power World.
Yeah,
but like I said, but also not very different though, man. It's like all right, Pokemon with guns. Like, all right, cool. It's but like, is that something unique? Like, what was that game?
Yeah, it was a fun game.
Viewfinder. I didn't even play it, but did you guys see? I think it was Viewfinder, right? Have you guys seen that game?
Viewfinder? No.
It's like where you take like paintings and you kind of situate them in a certain way, and then you go through the painting, and then what you did is 3D, and then it creates the puzzle or like the game map through it. I mean, that was actually like, holy shit, I've never seen anything like that. I think it was called Viewfinder. I'm pretty sure. I didn't get to play it, but I saw it a couple times. Like, man,
yeah, I think the thing is that like a lot of the games that are actually innovative and different are like not as highly built. They're definitely not AAA level. They're kind of like smaller-ish games or vintage feeling stuff, because the reason that you can build out like a big AAA looking game in 2 years is you're using Unity or you're using like whatever engine, and then they all end up having at least some similarities and like,
yeah, but that's the point. I mean, look at that. I mean, you look at it, and a lot of people say, oh, that's bad, right? You see a lot of people saying, oh, it's just another Lyra clone. Oh, it's just, those are just default assets. They're using all the default shit from from Unreal. It's complete trash. But then we're going and doing basically the same thing with Fortnite's creator, right? And you get a set of assets that are pretty much the same kind of look and feel, and you're buying assets there, and it's like, well, what's the difference?
So I think the biggest problem in the gaming industry overall is it's really hard to innovate.
Yeah.
Because gaming has been around in a place where it's like 30 years now. Like gaming started before 2000s, right? And Sega and like Sony and all these other people were innovating back in the days, right, with their console games. And IP is so hard to build that now game publishers and developers are in a place where it's like, I don't want to release innovative games anymore because I have to spend $200 million to make a new game, and I don't even know if it's going to succeed because I have to spend another $400 million on publishing that game. Yeah. Right. So we're seeing like Call of Duty, like FIFA, and all these people just recycling the same IP over and over again because it's so expensive to make a new one. And I think like what Charles did on Nifty is that, hey, you already have this existing IP from other people. Why don't I just make a place where they can just grab it and pull it into there?
Yeah, and in that essence, it's innovative because you're doing something different. You're like adding something to the top. It's like putting a layer 2 on or something, right?
That's interoperability, and that's what I think where Web3 really comes in and kind of shines because of that being one of the main tenets. Now, can you do it right now with IP? Yeah, but there's no like standard, right? So you talk about like actual standards that you talk about, like, hey, plug in for this engine. And if you have that plugin and that's built into your game, it can interoperate any of these things in its own fashion to be incorporated with the game in real time.
The Web 2 structure, and I brought this up in like the questions, right? Let's go to Charles on this. So, are two web games then stuck in shareholder land? You know what I mean? Where they're afraid to innovate and do things if they're a bigger gamer studio because they're like the shareholders kind of control them, their future, the board and everything. And in Web3, we don't necessarily have that problem. Like, how do you kind of view that situation? Because, the thing is that the gaming industry did take some dip in AAA gaming, but overall, the arrow's pointing way the hell up. So, you've seen in the history where Nintendo, like their executives took like a pay cut to keep it going because they're like, bro, we're going to kill it. Let's go. Now you're seeing all these AAA games being like, oops, we have an owie. Let's cut everybody. So, like, Charles, like, what is your opinion on that? Because you obviously, I think, are like big time on the Web3 gaming side.
Yeah. I mean, I think what roughly is going on with, if we're talking like Web 2 games, or especially the big UGC platforms that you see in it, they're in fundamentally a very conservative mode where the budgets that they feel are required to get users and to make a quality product that will resonate are just going up, and up. And as a result, it becomes really difficult to bet on a crazy idea, right? It's like just so fundamentally difficult. I even think Fortnite Creative, which is sort of like praised as this sort of like really innovative thing, and it is innovative, but it's in some respects very conservative as well, in that the basic building blocks of Fortnite Creative are closely modeled off of Roblox. Like the basic idea of what you're doing, the basic primitives of the platform are they're Roblox, but it kind of looks nicer. It's really cosmetic and game feel that's different, but the basic building blocks of the platform are the same as Roblox. And so you don't have a lot of big studios that are really willing to bet the house on something new and weird and interesting. And to me, and this is part of how we look at it, if you're trying to think of like, what are these weird, interesting things you could bet on? Crypto just is the most underrated thing. It's the most like misunderstood. It's the thing that big companies won't touch. So we looked at it and we said, here's a group of people with all these really deep internet communities, these NFT communities that are dying to do stuff together. They really want to support their communities and play together and do more stuff and win prizes. And we thought, let's build for this really interesting niche that we think represents the future of the internet. And let's build something that feels radically weird and different. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. At least that's the goal. Is
did you have like when you research those other games, like do be specific to be distinctive and try something different than them?
I honestly think we just thought about it from first principles around. We're like, okay, how can we build? Like we said, what's the problem in UGC gaming? It's basically the barrier is very high, so very few people make content, and it's very hard to make money from it. And then you kind of work backwards from there and say, how can we do it in a different way? And so our thought was, okay, what if we had a new basic unit of UGC called an island that's sort of like this thing that's easy to make for anyone. And then it's like, okay, that could work, but then where do the games come from? And then we say, okay, what if the game logic could be used across islands? So what if you didn't have to make your own shooter or make your own Among Us clone? What if the Among Us clone could exist on everyone's islands? And then it's like, okay, fine. How will you distribute the content? How will people know about it? What if they could share a link to their island really easily? And what if there were rewards for doing it? So we started to think in that way. And then you start to run it, just run the idea maze, and you think, okay, then also who's the initial user group? Like who's going to want to use this? Like who will try it and go to bat for it at first? Like where can you go where UGC can have an easier time of getting off the ground? And we said, oh, and then it's, crypto. I was in crypto anyway, but that's how we felt was there, deep internet communities fuse really well with UGC gaming, because if you're in a community, you know who you're creating for. It's much less daunting and it's more fun. And you don't have to resolve this cold start problem that so many platforms have, and just getting people to care. It's just a lot easier. So anyway, I'm just, that was it. It was really thinking from first principles around those problems. That's how we've thought about it. Yeah.
Charles, would you say like that you're hyped for the future of Web3 gaming?
I would say I am definitely hyped about it, but not.
Can you say that in a very like shout it like loudly, like just like you're like just exuberance?
Okay, I'm hyped for the future of Web3 gaming, but in a very specific way. Specific things.
That was the least hype I've ever.
Look, I'm trying to do this so I can put you in my videos and just have.
I was like, I'm hyped, guys. Look at me.
I'm so hyped.
This is
honestly,
that's hilarious. Actually,
Hantao
knows I'm trying to put everybody in my videos. He's the master of that.
When you're looking at me right now, you're looking at sort of like an empty toothpaste. Stick,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just trying to push out the last amount of energy that you spent on this planet. Like, can you? It's like the soul glow. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have the power out of you, and you just got to like turn it on?
Yeah. We could try and find it.
We could talk about this probably for hours and hours, and we will. We're all going to talk about this. If anybody here is invited to come to Hyped on Wednesday, and I believe some of you guys are. Yes, but let's go to Ape Mother. Okay, so this is the thing. Traditional game companies, do they value their employees? Do you think that in Web3 now, do we have a better way to value, and I shouldn't say employees, but community members, team members? Like, how do you see this distinction between how do we value like people that are working with us and creating with us in Web2 versus Web3?
I mean, essentially every Web3 company right now is a small startup. I mean, there's only a few exceptions that have like had massive funding rounds. And as Stash was alluding to, like as we progress deeper into 2024, for example, we're going to see more layoffs. We're going to see more of a contraction, less companies IPOing. I mean, this year there's been like a massive downturn in venture capital deploying into the Web3 sector, and into any like deploying capital in general. Same goes for private equity. So I guess my point is like being small businesses overall is really the point, that like every Web3 company is really a small business. And so you kind of go back to like a family style of running a business. And, the cool thing about owning a Web3 business, and I'll use Nifty Island as an example again, because they're doing it, which is they're adding a utility token for the game. That tokenization offers like an entirely new incentive that you can offer to individuals who want to come on and support your company. Like when you talk about going out looking for jobs in the real world and using our talents in marketing and networking and development and like building applications, I mean, the best option that we have is like maybe a small options package at most, or if you get in really early, like you live in San Francisco or something, and you can get in a company that's like raising a Series A or like a seed round, and you're just, like you have the talent, sure. But over the next year and a half, like we're seeing the startup market like decline rapidly. Like a lot of companies are running out of runway and their burn rate has exceeded their treasury. And we're going to start to even see that in Web3 quite a bit more. So like, I guess my point is like for small, one, I think Web3 is going to make it over the private like VC funding sector, because like we have this ability to rally people around us and to build community, unlike other companies who find it too expensive to go into the trenches and spend time on Twitter being a reply guy, for example. Like that is like some of the most grassroots marketing, acquiring users that you can possibly do. In terms of like valuing people who partner with you, the cool thing is that like as you're building it, there's so much of a spotlight on you because of how nascent the Web3 gaming sector is. And so anybody that comes alongside you also has an opportunity to get a light shine on them and to take the spotlight. Like it's not just about Charles and Nifty Island, it's about any project that goes into Nifty Island and creates something awesome. All of a sudden they're going to be in the spotlight and he's going to elevate them to the max. And then that they want to monetize, they have all the opportunities in the world with the marketplace, with streams like this, with you and Stash. I mean, we haven't even tapped into like streaming these games. And like the UGC component is a really important aspect. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you haven't. Yeah, we even talked about that. My favorite thing, streaming. You know what I'm saying? Getting in there and getting your hands dirty. Let's go. Get like crazy with it. You know what I'm saying? Stash, man, like things are going crazy right now. Even we do see that streamers are reporting like views being down and stuff. Things are even more spread out. It's getting more difficult, I think, in Web 2. Do you think a lot of that's going to push people more into Web 3? And, you know, I personally work with like new streaming things coming out, like Taffy streams, to try to give more utility and more Web 3 integration to even streamers. Do you think all this stuff happening is going to kind of make, you know, them see like, hey, man, Web 2 is not maybe the best. Let's go try out Web 3.
Well, I mean, like, to say Web 2 is not the best, like I said, man, I've been alluding to this, and I think that we're seeing a perfect storm brewing right now. I think what we're seeing is, you know, people see these as separate entities and elements, right? Where you talk about what we just talked about, then the first topic is user-generated content and that being a bigger driver, right? Then we talk about, you know, the general economy and what we're seeing with automation, and how multiple industries are on the verge of being, you know, decimated because of automation, right? And then you see things like what we've seen here post-COVID, where during the kind of, you know, COVID lockdown and, you know, the couple of years that you know, followed it, people were they were home a lot, and they couldn't go enjoy a lot of the things they were out enjoying, and they were working from home, and so they had more time to game, more time for entertainment in general. And then we've seen a little bit of retraction from that here for the last year or so, 2022 going into 2023. And that combined, like, so you think, okay, well, do we get back to that age where the people are going to be gaming in this large amount of time versus what we saw pre-COVID, where, you know, work from home was not as big of a thing? And people still did it. I've been working from home for a long time, but it wasn't like a standard like we're seeing for a lot of people and companies in the US. And so I think that, you know, AI being able to rapidly expand what one person can do, or somebody can set up and just have an AI do without having people do it in traditional industry, combined with automation, combined with the fact that, you know, there are problems with our economy in general, not just here in the United States, but globally. I don't know if you guys saw Evergrande. They finally, you know, went bankrupt and belly up. If you guys maybe don't know that, maybe you're not more into the general economy type of stuff, but that is a big thing, right, for a global economy. So when you look at the next 5 to 10 years, what does this big storm, all these things coming together, what does it mean? Well, if there's less jobs and less people that are needed for jobs, and then you talk about, well, what are people going to do? You know, does leisure become a larger focus? And honestly,
build islands, pretty much.
I think it does. I mean, building islands, sure, like, but doing all these things, like, but you're talking about capturing people's attention. What are they going to be doing? Well, gaming is definitely going to come back to the forefront there, right? But then you think about, like, but in the same form, in its current form, no. Why? Why not in its current form? Because we have all these tools that are allowing people to make games way faster than they ever have before. and having an AI assistant to help them do these things. And now you don't need a $200 million budget to try a new IP. You don't need to have all those things, right? You can easily do it without a lot of those same people if you just have one creative person and the right type of tools. So I think that's a huge, benefit for those that are already ahead of that curve. And I do feel that, people in Web3 are a little bit better situated to handle that curve because we've already been kind of talking about these things: interoperability, UGC as a platform, transparency. We're already seeing AI and that being kind of, not saying that's a Web3 specific thing, but something that I think we definitely kind of want to.
You love AI is what you're saying. I think it's what I feel.
I'm not saying that I love AI. I'm just saying I understand where it's going. And if you don't, you start to see some of these
utilizing
tools.
AI right now. Is AI telling you?
It's not even me right now, guys. This is not even me. This is just an AI that I let run. And honestly, it's funny now. Like, oh, that's funny.
I could sense it.
But it is like, if you guys have not seen the tools, that shit is coming, man.
It's true. It's true.
That's exactly what AI would said. And now the question is, are you guys prepared for the lightning round? Ka-chow! Ka-chow! That's it, the lightning round. You all have 6.9 seconds to respond with, what's your favorite retro game? Is it a Web3 version? Is it like Sonic? What is it? Hantao, what's your favorite retro game?
Duck Hunt.
Is there a Web3 version?
No.
No, there isn't.
That's a good
Charles,
one, man.
Favorite
Love the
game.
light gun.
I would say Mario 64.
Mm-hmm. A lot of wannabe Mario 64s, but is there a Web3 version of it?
Nifty Island.
Yeah, okay, well, there we go.
Did we see that one coming? No, it's like
I have to rep for them. I have to.
You're allowed to, Charles, because I see you out in the streets pounding the pavement.
Appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can do whatever the hell you want,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
And talking about pounding the pavement, 8 Mother, sir, what is your favorite retro game? Is there a Web3 version of it?
You're gonna find this answer ridiculous, but my favorite retro game is actually Tetris. And I think that UGC is going to allow us to do something like that in Web3.
You're going to make Tetris on your island? Do it.
I think it could happen.
Some kid just broke the world record or something, right? Like some 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he maxed it out or aired it out, and he couldn't get any more levels.
Did you guys put your island links in the description yet and down in there so people can go to your islands and stuff? You know what I'm saying? I already did. Look at me. I'm hustling over here, Charles.
My island is poor, man.
Hustling like this.
I'm still messing around. I don't have a theme yet for my. I want to do something.
You know what, Charles? We should have like a CryptoStache Doug Hype theme night when we all build the island and make it or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bring our communities.
Oh, I'm so down. Imagine if we got a bunch of like 3D stash models. You know what I mean? Like. It could be good. You could have a up only where you're jumping on mustache to mustache.
That actually brings me into a good question, Charles. I'd love to hear you before I tell you my retro game. But like, would there be a way to do it where you could have multiple people creating on one island simultaneously? Like we could say, hey, here's 5 people. We give them all permission, and we could all start like collaboratively doing it in real time together. Can you do that? You can't do that right now.
I have great news for you. You can do it. You can build collaboratively concurrently, and you can add someone if you want to add someone almost as like a mod to your island who just manages it for you while you're doing other stuff. You can do that too. So
I would love to do a night like that where we get like 10 people in and we have a concept, and it's like, have you ever done like the pass the painting thing where like one person does it for like a set amount of time and then you got to take it over and it kind of continues the story? Like that'd be kind of fun to do, right?
That's fun. I like that. Yeah. Exactly. You could all have a corner of the island. I mean, whatever you want. It's all doable.
It's true. Okay, you hear it here first. Stash Island is going to be mustaches. There'll also be a Doug Hype Island with lots of cakes everywhere. Okay, we're going to make it like Candy Cane Lane. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so we went around to the lightning round, but let's go around one more time to everybody and let's talk about like what you're up to right now.
Hold on. I didn't get to tell you mine.
Oh, I did that on purpose, maybe because you wanted so badly to tell us.
Actually, I have 2, man. One of my favorites was Pitfall. If you guys don't know Pitfall, Atari.
Yes, alligators.
And then Burger Time. Do you guys know Burger Time? Damn,
I do know Burger Time.
I feel like kind of like Benji Bananas kind of hit the pitfall with like the swinging monkeys and like, I don't know if there's a Burger Time style one though.
I don't know, but Cornucopias does have the burger like barn. You know what I'm saying? I eat burgers there all the time in real life, wherever.
Same thing, Doug. That's
shout out to Cornucopias. Thanks for paying me money. So Yeah. Now let's get to the part where we get to talk about like what we're really here for. Is that like how great are we, Hantao? What are you up to? Like, what are the things right now that are exciting for you that you are doing, that you're involved in? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing that the people should know about?
Yeah, so I have one announcement from Oku that I can't say yet, but generally, we do a lot of the publishing and go to market for Ronin, and then I think we're teeing up some other ecosystems right now as well. So that's going to be an awesome experience and time helping other games come to market.
That's pretty awesome. Ronin is
Hell yeah.
pretty awesome right now. So good on you. All right, let's go over to Mr. Charles. I have no idea what you're up to. I feel like do you just make American flags for a living? Like, what do you do?
That's
like, are you a painter? Can I hire you to paint me? Like, what are you up to? What's new?
Yeah,
I actually linked my island below, sir.
Okay, well that's good. That's all you need to do. No, my goal is to be as unmysterious as possible, where you know what I'm doing every second of the day, and it's basically just one thing. I mean, we're just basically just trying to make the game better and rolling out quests, which is our on-chain prize system where people can post their own rewards and challenge each other to do stuff in the game. We think that's a really important feature. Then you're going to see us spending a lot of time with our partner projects. We're hanging with a kid called Beast the other night. We want to do more with Sappy Seals. We want to do more with everyone. Moon Ape Labs. We want to do with everybody who is supporting the game. Nakamigos for sure. So you're going to see a lot of that. And then really it's going to be about like dramatic, really quickly capitalizing on the momentum we have. And I think, you'll see some surprise announcements from us and stuff. I think it'll be good. So
I think I'm going to do some new stuff with it where I'm going to make my island and have different things from different games I work with and do some fun giveaways and just make it like a whole new level. Cause this is what I do, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be sexy. And on the show Wednesday, we're going to talk about that. And if anybody out there wants to come by and win some stuff and do some cool things, we're going to do that. Then I'm doing big time giveaways. I just give stuff away. All my things I own here, that picture, whatever. I don't give a damn. Let's do it.
I love it.
You own nothing because
serious,
Doug
okay?
gave it all away.
Invite me.
Do this. Ape Mother. We were just discussing in the DMs that you have a bunch of stuff coming in the near future that's going to be really exciting with you. An Ape reunion. People are very excited to see what's going on in your world, in your game. What do you want to talk about with what you're up to? You know what I'm saying? Is a little bit of mystery right now. Like, what's exciting to you right now in the Ape reunion world?
Yeah, it's not a mystery. We haven't been able to give people definitive dates, which is the hardest part, because that's what everyone wants, is like, when is the thing happening? Give me the exact time. But we're hoping by the end of this week to start sneak peeking a lot of what we've been working on, which for us is like, we've reskinned and revamped our entire game. So like sorry, I gotta so I got distracted there for a second. There's some typing. We revamped like our entire UI for our game, and we've actually started to use AI on the back end to generate some of the base assets and then do them in our own style. And so it's actually helped us ramp up our development of other biomes. So we're pretty excited to ship some new gameplay, including like battle mode inside of Reunion. We're also excited to add our second collection into the game, which is Reunion Species. It just takes us a while to animate that stuff and integrate it into our game. But yes, this is going to be a big year for us, just because like we finally completed our core game loop. And so that's what we're going to be beta testing in February with our community. And it's just going to lead us into a really good summer of like building on the whole core game loop and then actually having like a finished product to show people.
I'm really excited also to hang out with the apes and the old nifty islands and stuff. I think the dynamite has just hit the TNT thing, it's going tick, 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 and it's about to just explode. There's already like 19,000 people in there. And that's the thing, is when I see that happen, I'm like, where's my Nakamigos? Where's my Ape Reunion friends? Where's all these people that I want to hang out with in the metaverse? Where's Hantao? I'm always at his island, and I'm like, where is he? Where did he go? He's probably off doing something fun and exciting. CryptoStache.
You could have like AI Hantao that is, like I said, like, it looks just like him in Nifty Island, talks just like him, and you would never even know. So anytime you go there, he's always there for you.
I just spin up a
there.
ChatGPT model so Doug never gets lonely.
Exactly. Yeah.
I need my Hantao time. You know what I'm saying? I need him. I need him in all my videos and all my things. It's I love it when people, everybody here, all you guys are super great in Web3 with like your communication, connection, and being there for the community, just being awesome, fun people to be friends with. Stash, what are we looking forward with GIA in the near future? You got a bunch of shows coming up. It's really exciting to jump in and play all kinds of stuff, big time, whatever it is with you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, we're just, we're expanding things here at the GIA, so you're going to see a lot more of different people doing content in addition to me. And, the game that I've been working on with the sandbox is going to be coming out in about a month or two. So that's going to be kind of interesting and fun. And, we got some other things in store. We got some other cool things in store.
There's always a lot of things. Every time I turn on my computer, you're doing something or dropping something.
It's honestly, it may almost be too much. Maybe we need to scale back. I don't know.
It is pleasant though. It's good stuff. You're great. And,
it's basically just gaming, man. Like just having fun, trying all these new games and getting the community involved and finding the best of the best.
Web3 games we got now.
There's a lot, man. I mean, like, oh look. I get told this on a daily basis. People saying like, there's just too much stuff to keep up with. It's always. I hear a lot of like, it's too much stuff. I can't keep up with. I can't. Like, that's why we try and give you.
Do you put towards gaming?
15 to 30 minutes.
Every single day. Is it like a workout? You're like, I gotta get my time in. I gotta get like my things.
Dude, it's
going.
hard to play games when you're working.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
A lot of people think, oh, we're in gaming, so we're just always gaming.
He's like, no. It's one of those things where you guys work so hard, and I love it. I hear so many people this week being like, I'm working 20 hours a week. I'm working so hard. And I'm like, we're on the same train. Everyone's working hard and doing great things. And I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. And thanks for having an awesome show, CryptoStache. And coming from the GIA, baby, I had a lot of fun today. I hope you guys had an awesome time and learned a lot about what's going on. Follow all these guys right now. Click on their links. They're down there, Stash. He put them down there. He's a smart guy. He knows how to put links in the YouTubes, okay? Go down there and click on them. Follow them. DM them. Come to Hyped on Wednesday, too. I'm just going to show myself all day long, baby. We're going to have so much fun this week. I'm going to probably be jumping in and stream with Stash. Wait till I get my stream stuff going, baby. It's going to be like stuff exploding everywhere on fire. It's going to be nuts. But thanks for coming to Around the Metaverse. Thanks to our amazing panel. We got CryptoStache. We got Hantao, we got Charles, and Nate Mother in the house, baby. Over and out. I'll see you guys later.
All right, we're clear. Thanks for coming, guys. Yeah. I mean, I try and do things just a little bit different, maybe than some people. Like, try and combine kind of not just what's going on in Web3, but also a little bit of what's going outside of Web3, right? And tying that back into what we're seeing and what we're experiencing.